What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. We got ourselves yet another Ryan Cohen tweet. This time from the pets.com puppet and a puke face. Now, before I go into any details specifically on this, I do find it fascinating that this guy has almost, if not, I'd say even more power at this point than Elon Musk to move a stock price, which is incredible. We're looking at every time Ryan Cohen tweets anything, it automatically causes, some might call it a mini short squeeze, but the stock pumps like 10% instantly. And the most fascinating thing about it is it holds, I mean, for the most part, and subject to change, but as of now, every time Ryan Cohen has tweeted in the past couple of months, it's either started a gigantic MOASS or a mini short squeeze. But either way, the stock bumps and holds. This is unbelievable. If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell for notifications. And if you don't mind doing me a favor, hit that like button right now. I would really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's talk about GameStop today, because what a wild ride it's been. The entire stock market took a gigantic nosedive after Powell had his morning meeting and basically said that we haven't recovered to the point that we expected to, and we still have a long way to go, but we're hopeful. And the stock market took that as sell. It was a bloodbath. This morning, it was just red everywhere. If you're an investor, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of the worst days I have seen since I started investing over a decade ago. And that includes the dramatic drops we had back in March during the beginning of the pandemic. And while this wasn't at those levels, it certainly was a little bit reminiscent of it. The stock valuations are plummeting over the past 3 weeks or so. It just seems like a steady decline downward. And for whatever reason, no end in sight, except for GameStop. And that's what's fascinating about all this is I was watching the stocks today and I was like, that's weird. My entire portfolio that I diversified, because I was like, okay, I made some money on GameStop. Let me spread this money around the stock market to make sure that, you know, I have a good defense in case something goes wrong with GameStop. At least I'll have my money elsewhere in the stock market. And wouldn't you know it, the entire stock market takes a gigantic crap, but GameStop is still holding steady. All morning today, it was holding around the $120 mark, which is incredible, especially considering just a couple weeks ago it was at 38 bucks. It's able to hold the 120 mark while the entire economy around it is crashing. That's something that I would say stood out to me and why I kept my eye on GameStop and had a feeling something was going to happen with it, because I'm like, that's weird. It's not following the rest of the market. It's kind of doing its own thing, even though there's literally no good news from anything right now. It's just the pandemic is taking longer to come out of. The jobs are still a mess. Everything is still screwed. But yet GameStop was persistently holding the 120 mark. And then we got Ryan Cohen with the tweet from the pets.com puppet dog that some of you might remember is basically the poster child for defining the internet bubble pup. For a quick history lesson, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but the pets.com puppet dog basically was the advertisements for pets.com, and that had a gigantic valuation, and it went belly up not too long after IPOing, because the internet bubble popped back in the 2000 bubble pop, and that was the poster child for the entire crash at that point, because everybody had faith in pets.com, because like, oh, that's got to be successful. That's got to be like the Google of pets. I thought it was fascinating to see Ryan Cohen post it, because that's basically him showing a bubble pop. That's the way I'm looking at that. And it's fascinating too from the perspective of being founder of Chewy.com and basically beating Amazon at their own game when it came to pet supplies and pet foods, things like that. They didn't pop. They didn't go belly up. They were very successful. So I look at it as like almost like a double meaning. he's signifying the entire market bubble pop right now is pets.com. And the pukey face is just, I guess, exacerbating that, making it 10 times worse. Like, yeah, it's a puke, it's a bubble pop, this is gross. But I'm Ryan Cohen. I built Chewy from the ground up and destroyed Amazon when it came to pet supplies. And the market took that as, I would imagine, the same as I did, as he's not afraid of a bubble. He's not afraid of bankruptcy or collapsing because he knows what he's got with GameStop. And it's fascinating to me that there's still so many people, especially CNBC and the haters out there, that just want to see GameStop go away because it's destroying the hedge funds, which they claim that they got out of, which, by the way, no, they didn't. That's impossible because it was shorted over 100%. The stock, I don't know how hedge funds are going to get out of this because the price keeps either going up or holding for the most part. Yes, it dipped, like I said, all the way down to 38 at one point, which to me I thought was crazy. I even made a post on Twitter saying I'm buying more at that point. And good thing I did, because basically that same day, Roaring Kitty bought in and it shot straight up from there and hasn't looked back since then. And we're now in the second inning of the GameStop MOASS. I don't know where it can go from now. I'm recording this while the market is open. For all I know, it could crash down. But I'm just saying everything I know about what GameStop signifies and pairing that with Ryan Cohen's tweets and his confidence, and also, more importantly than anything, the video game industry at large, which I feel like a lot of people are forgetting about. The Nintendo Switch Pro just got leaked last night by Bloomberg. And the Sony PlayStation 5 is getting restocked. The Xbox Series X and S are coming back. And it's just, everything's coming up Millhouse when it comes to GameStop. They cannot do anything wrong. So on a day like this, with the market blood red, I expected GameStop to not fall a lot, but at least fall a little bit. And it didn't. So I bought more because I'm like, okay, if GameStop is holding this line here, that means that there's probably going to be a pop here. And sure enough, there was. So I guess what I'm getting at with all of this is I don't listen to anyone. Don't even listen to me. I'm definitely not a financial advisor. But do your own due diligence. Review and study what the company signifies and what the potential catalysts are for it. Because I fell into the trap of listening to CNBC, where I started diversifying. And while I still have plenty of GameStop stock right now, I really spread out. I spread myself really thin throughout the entire market, trying to make money off of the money that I made on GameStop. And it didn't work out. And all these people on CNBC, the politicians, the Congress people, oh, we need to review the GameStop situation. People are going to lose money. We're worried about you. No, they're not. What did they do today when the entire market crashed? Is there going to be a congressional hearing about why the market crashed today and why Powell and the Fed can't figure out monetary policy to make sure that somehow, even though they keep printing money, that the stock market is still finding a way to fall 3 weeks in a row? No, they don't care. They only cared about making a point about GameStop because their buddies at hedge funds were screwed. And this moment proves it. So I guess that's where I'm at with all this GameStop stuff. I know it's been a while since my last video, and I apologize for that. I actually went to Vegas with the family, had some fun there. Didn't make any money, lost a little bit of money, but whatever. Had fun. That was the most important part of it. And yeah, I'm going to keep trying to make videos when I can, when there's something to talk about, and we'll go from there. I'm going to leave it right there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.